Shall we be seated? Barfour, Re-Akoto, and others who taught us that fidelity to principles, courage, patience, resilience, and collective action do yield results. They fought with intelligence, guts, steely determination, and patriotism to liberate our land and reclaim our worth as human beings. Their love for country continues to inspire generations of us to commit our lives to the search of an enduring democratic legacy for Ghana. This is a quotation from the inaugural speech by His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Ghana, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, on the 7th of January 2017. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here for the 16th edition of the Re-Akoto Memorial Lectures under the auspices of His Lordship, the Chief Justice of the Republic of Ghana, His Lordship Justice Eni Yabua, the management of the Ghana School of Law, and the SRC of the Ghana School of Law. Shall we at this juncture invite Reverend Father Dr. Anthony Na, Head of College Chaplaincy, KNUST, to lead us in an opening prayer. Shall we receive the Reverend Father?
May I beg your indulgence to please rise for prayer. Our help is in the name of the Lord who made heaven and earth. Almighty and ever-living God, we are grateful to you for the gift of our lives. We thank you for this day, and we thank you for this moment. You have gathered us today to celebrate in a very special way the 16th edition of the Re-Akoto Memorial Lectures. We thank you for the life of the Re-Akoto family and what they represented for us as a nation. We thank you for the School of Law. We thank you for the Faculty of Law of KNUST. And we thank you for all the stakeholders and all those who uphold our Constitution, promote our human rights. We entrust this gathering into your care. Send your Holy Spirit into our midst. Direct us in all that we do. And at the end of it all, we may understand the importance of law, human rights, and help best to promote them in our lives. We thank you for the safe arrival of all our dignitaries. And we thank you for who they are and what they represent for us as a nation and as a people. And we thank you for using them as your own instrument to lead us as a nation. We pray that you continue to govern us, direct us, and bless us in all we do. These and many blessings we ask through Christ our Lord. Amen.
Thank you very much, Reverend Father Dr. Anthony Na. Ladies and gentlemen, anytime soon we'll be introducing to you the chairman for this occasion. But before we do so, let us honor the following dignitaries who are here present. In course of time, others who will join us will also be introduced to you. We have with us this morning the representative of the Chief Justice of the Republic of Ghana. He is in the person of His Lordship, Justice Dennis Ejay, Justice of the Courts of Appeal, representing the Chief Justice. We are also honored to have in our midst the Honorable Minister of Justice and Attorney General of the Republic of Ghana, Honorable Godfred Yabuadame. We have with us the former Speaker of Parliament, Right Honorable Reverend Professor Aaron Mike Okwe. We have the Honorable Dr. Usu Re-Akoto, Minister of Agriculture. We have the director, the acting director of the Ghana School of Law, Mr. Maxwell Opoku Ajiman, with us. Let's also welcome Mr. Kwame Pianim, an economist and a person I would describe as a statesman. He's also here with us, Mr. Kwame Pianim. Mr. Michael Jan Owusu is also here with us. We have the representative of the Asante Hinotun Force 82, the second, in the person of Nana Barfour Ejei Fosu. Nana, shall we? Let me also introduce to you the Dean of the KNUST Faculty of Law, Professor Lydia Porinkansa. We also have with us Mr. Paul Edugemfi, lecturer and past president, Ghana Bar Association, with us. Ladies and gentlemen, shall we now have Adjoa Sewa Asamoah to introduce the chairman for this occasion? Shall we receive Adjoa Sewa Asamoah?
Mr. Chairman, Honorable Guest Speaker, Distinguished Guest of Honor, Professor Mike Okwe, Representative of the Chief Justice, His Lordship Justice Dennis Ejei, the Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Honorable Godfred Dame, Nana Nom, the Acting Director of the Ghana School of Law, Mr. Maxwell Opoku Ajiman, all other dignitaries present, management and staff of the Ghana School of Law, the SRC of the Ghana School of Law, students, ladies and gentlemen. I stand here given the singular honor to introduce the chairman for this program, the 16th edition of the Re-Akoto Memorial Lectures. He is an economist who has had a distinguished career in investment and economic advisory services, both in Ghana and abroad. He worked as a civil servant and a public servant in Ghana, after serving as an economic research officer of the United Nations in New York. A former acting principal secretary of the Ministry of Finance and Economic Planning, he served as an advisor to the minister in devising a market-oriented development strategy and policies. While at the ministry, he helped structure and transform the social fund under the then State Insurance Corporation, SIC, into the Social Security and National Insurance Trust, SNIT. As a private consultant, he designed and established the Teachers Fund, a monthly put-aside savings for the Ghana National Association of Teachers, NAT, which is now a major investment fund in Ghana. He is a former chief executive of Ghana Cocoa Marketing Board. He has also served as a chairman on the boards of the following: the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission, Ghana International School, Airtel Tigo Communications Ghana, Bayport Savings and Loans PLC, and United Bank for Africa Ghana. He was also a member of the Petroleum Commission. He was educated at Echina Chrome Methodist School and at Achimota School. He is a former president of the Old Achimotan Association. He holds a Master of Arts degree in economics from Yale University, USA, and a BA double honors in economics and political science from the University of New Brunswick, Canada, where he studied as a Commonwealth scholar. He has participated in a number of development and good governance-related seminars, both home and abroad, and served as a member of the United Nations Development Program, specifically on the Commission on Private Sector and Development. Under the PNDC regime, he was detained and sentenced by the public tribunal to 18 years imprisonment with hard labor and spent 10 years in jail. In January 2001, he was granted an absolute and unconditional pardon. In 2002, he received the apostolic blessings of His Holiness Pope John Paul II for the meritorious service to the parish on the occasion of the Golden Jubilee of Christ the King Parish, Accra. In recognition of his public service, he was awarded a member of the Order of the Volta. He is married to Cornelia Anapianim, Nee Den Hartog, and they are blessed with a daughter and 2 sons. Ladies and gentlemen, with a round of applause, let us welcome the chairman of this program, Mr. Kwame Pieni.
Thank you very much. They say when technology fails, it's a shame that in the premier Science and Technology University of Ghana, my iPad is not working. But there's a backup. The representative of Otumfuo, Opokuwari, Nana Nantahini, my father, my grandfather, and my brother. The last time I said that, the British High Commissioner asked me, how can he be your grandfather, your father, and your brother? And he says, and I said, he's my grandfather because that is my mother's father. And he's my brother because we both sit on that stool. So I'm a royal of Ananta, and I'm happy, Nana, that we are representing Otumfuo. Osetutu II, who established this memorial lecture in honor of Ochiame Barfour Re-Akoto, who served his nation and the Golden Stool with loyalty and a selfless manner. Thank you, Nana, and through you to Otumfuo, for this memorial lecture, which has not been a one-day wonder like most others, that is continued for all these 16 edition, up to the 16th edition. The Right Honorable Michael Quay, former speaker, who understands perfectly what this Re-Akoto means. When my friend Yao Safumafu said, we all eat macroeconomics, people didn't understand it. Macroeconomics is bread and butter. And Re-Akoto is not just for lawyers, as the list of distinguished speakers have demonstrated. It is what keeps us alive, free to go about our business. May I, through you, Nana, also salute Nananum, who are here gracing this event in honor of one of their colleagues who served the Golden Stool. Your Lordship, representing the Chief Justice Enim Yeboah, Chief Justice of the Republic of Ghana, under whose distinguished auspices we are holding this 16th Re-Akoto lecture. And through you, Your Lordship, may I also salute all members of the judiciary here present with us today. The Attorney General, may I through you also salute all ministers here with us and all members of Parliament, all members of political parties and executives who are here with us today. Mr. Maswelo Poku Ajiman, Director of Legal Education, and your colleagues in the faculty, you who have taken on the onerous but laudable task of organizing these annual lectures, congratulations for coming so far. Not too many people have been able to hold something like this for so long. We started the Kubli Enu lectures to honor people in the media who are also abused. It didn't last, it died. And I hope the Media Commission, the Journalists Association, will revive it and keep it going. Because if we forget our history, we will not grow. The Honorable Re-Akoto, Minister for Food and Agriculture and Keynote Speaker of the, and also the 18th child of the inimitable and amazing Barfour Akoto. I felt a little bit jealous when some Chinese friends were going about how great this man is. Free, fantastic man. They were negotiating. They decided to continue the negotiation over dinner. And the Chinese, they would toast you, Kambe, and you have to down all your drink. And they were drinking brandy. They were doing it. They've done it with other Ghanaians. After 30 minutes, 40 minutes, the rest, they've succumbed. And they were saying how great this man is. I got a little jealous later. I said, don't mind him. He's not even half the man his father was. I said, what do you mean? I said, his father had 36 children. He hasn't even been able to produce 4 or 5. But Honorable, that was out of jealousy. This man is responsible for 1 and 2 of the 4 pillars that will make sure that the party that his father fought so hard to help us establish, that this party will break the gins of the 2 terms of the 8 elections that we've had. NDC has won 4, MPP has won 4. If the Minister for Agriculture, for Food and Agriculture, is able to mechanize and rejuvenate, rehabilitate agriculture to increase output and remove the yield deficit, everything we produce in Ghana, we only attain 50% of the attainable world yield. Maize, rice, whatever, cocoa, name it. If it's able to improve and overcome that yield deficit, and the 1 district, 1 factory gets the output to process in the districts where the young people live and stay, they will be able to have good paying jobs to stay in the districts so that they don't come to the towns, Accra, Kumasi, to burden the already overtaxed social infrastructure. Those are the 2 pillars. The other 2 pillars, free senior high school to improve the quality of our manpower for development. And the 4th one is putting a stop to bribery and corruption that has been holding us back for all these years. So he's responsible for 2. And if he's able to do that, we'll break the gins and we'll continue to establish what Re-Akoto fought for. I am here today for 3 reasons. As somebody trained in the classics, I always have to give 3 reasons. The first reason for my being here and accepting readily and gladly to be chairman of this event is because of the high respect I hold for Ochiame Barfour Akoto. When you are in prison or accused of sins related to secession, subversion, nobody wants to be associated with you. Barfour Akoto knew what it felt like. He came all the way to Nsawam prison to visit Apia Menka and myself. The wise man that he is, he didn't come and say, oh, now so we are then. Oh, now then. He came, he sat with us, and he said, oh, I see you are now playing football. He was like a doctor with bedside manners. Oh, and then the prison, mobile football, it's not as bad. No, say that Kwame now, 7 and 6. When you're 7 and 6, Mr. Barfour, I didn't 7 and 6. Oh, when you're 7 and 6 during the Preventive Detention Act was 7 days in isolation and half ration. And you were in a room 3 meters by 3 meters by 4 meters, no windows. That's what they went through. He consoled us and made us feel that's not the end. You come out wiser and better than you are now. The second reason while I'm here is that the extent and the stature of Barfour Akoto in the struggle for independence has not been fully made known, narrated to us. Most people associate Barfour Akoto with the organizing platform that he used, the Matimu slogan, which was to demonstrate to the British, who knew that Ghana would not be viable without Ashanti joining the colonies, that we're not going to go until we have some form of checks and balances on a centralized government. When people see our chiefs with their gold ornaments, they think that is all. They only see the flowers on top of the trees. They fail to see the roots that firmly ground all of us as human beings. And what Barfour was fighting for was that our chiefs will not run away and leave their sandal, but they will stay to be respected and give direction and leadership to us. What Barfour was fighting for was that the entrepreneurship of cocoa farmers and the other people who work in Ghana will not be subsumed under state farms for us to have a monochronistic state enterprises and socialist society. The 1992 Constitution is a vindication of the politics that Re-Akoto fought for. Not the Asante secessionist, that's some will try to label him. Re-Akoto, both in the UP tradition and the development of Ghana, is the proverbial thumb. Kukumutia, Wontumi nsane homopo. We need to recognize him as such. And the third reason why I wanted to be here was let people know Re-Akoto and 7 others. It's not just for lawyers. You read the eminent people who've been giving speeches here. It's not for lawyers. It's for all of us. When you see the 7 others who were with Re-Akoto, a produce manager, a farmer, a transport owner, a driver, a chief, these were the ordinary people of Ghana. And I wanted to encourage the organizers, Onotumfo, that when we move, we should move more aggressively to the objective of the lecture, which was to promote research, study. And when we move to the research part, and somebody goes to the colonial archives, and to research what Prempeh II and Ochame Barfour were doing with the regional commissioner here. I've been privileged enough to know one of the key. You remember in the olden days, when you call the regional ministry, the telephonist will pick it and give it. And Re-Akoto is such a selfless individual. He always pushes people forward, pushing Busia forward. Most people forget that Busia and Olenu, they were going to form their own party, Gold Coast Convention Party. But Barfour was always saying, Kofi, remember Buayen, more crash for Makan, come and help us. Dr. J.B. Dankwa, he and Barfour understood royalty. And they said, let us build Ghana into an Adeshiman Ghana. Why Adeshiman? If all of us understood we're royals, a policeman cannot in front of TV be saying how he gave orders to his people to whip women, our mothers. We don't treat royals that way. And I'm hoping that this aspirational Ghana of Re-Akoto and J.B. Dankwa, a Ghana of royals, will move on so that all of us will be treated like royals. So my plea is to encourage you. Let's move into the research sector. And the the political scientists will then have to research, go to the colonial office, and see the discussion between Barfour and them, which led to the constitution that we won independence with. We are regional assemblies that were a check on the central government. The chiefs had a role to play, a check. But due to the lack of political strategy of Barfour's team that was in parliament, when Nkrumah moved a bill to remove those, Nkrumah was advised, accept them, otherwise we are not going to have independence. Ashanti will not be part of it. So he accepted it reluctantly, and once independence came, he moved a motion to repeal it. Unfortunately, Barfour's team in parliament walked out, and the CPP had a majority. They passed the bill in parliament. And then, when it came to the assembly, the regional, our politicians also there walked away. And the CPP that were left passed the bill. So what Barfour fought for was removed. But as I said, the 1992 Constitution is a justification, vindication of Barfour. There, private entrepreneurship was recognized. So cocoa prices that were being taxed 70–80%, as chief executive, the farmer was getting only 20% of the FOB price. Fortunately, the revolutionaries who wanted to throw away chieftaincy helped recognize chieftaincy. And then rolling started, moved it to about 40. President Kufuor came, moved it to 60. And now Barfour Akoto's son is sitting there. And I hope he's making sure it's 70–75%. And I'm hoping the time is coming, and the time has already come, for the Cocoa Marketing Board to be handed over to the cocoa farmers of this nation, to be made into a cooperative and no longer part of the Ghana government. The cocoa farmers have carried this nation for far too long. And I'm hoping that as you begin to expand the Re-Akoto lectures to include now an agriculturist, a farmer, I'm always jealous of him, this PhD from Cambridge University is one of the big farmers, and it is him we are looking forward to mechanize farming. And that when we expand this, and we've already started expanding it, making it more inclusive by having an agriculturist as your lecturer today. And I hope that the honor we can do to Barfour, I've always been saying that maybe we need an airport, international airport, Barfour Akoto International Airport. But I was thinking about it. Barfour is so selfless. He was pushing people. You know, a lot of the people didn't know that Barfour spoke English well enough to be conversing with the regional commissioner. One day, their meetings were somehow distant, so the regional commissioner called Barfour, and the girls at the reception went and they were calling the others, "Hey, Barfour Kebrofo, Mumetie." And Barfour speaks very softly, and in English he speaks even more softly. I'm hoping that these memorial lectures will be transformed by this nation into, that's it, an institute for civic education where lawyers, social scientists, psychiatrists will meet. The psychiatrist will study. Why we are so envious that whenever there's a coup, we report one another. And then they'll also give us a template for recruiting policemen and soldiers, security service people, so that the psychopaths are weeded away from them and then will be treated as dignitaries. I apologize for taking this long, and I will not hold you any longer from listening to the story of Barfour Akoto. And let me congratulate Barfour Akoto's family and the other families. And I think today we also owe the family condolences on the passing of one of our main speakers' sisters, who is also a lawyer. So thank you very much, and I'll give the floor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, shall we have the Acting Director of the Ghana School of Law, Mr. Maxwell Opoku-Agyeman, to give us the welcome address. Mr. Maxwell Opoku-Agyeman.
Mr. Chairman, Nana Anantahene presenting O24, His Lordship Dennis Yao Ajay, Justice of the Court of Appeal, representing the Chief Justice, Mr. Honorable Godfred Yabo Adame, Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Right Honorable Michael Quay, Professor and Reverend, former Speaker of Parliament, Dr. Re-Akoto, our main speaker, the Registrar of the Ghana School of Law, the Dean of the Faculty of Law, KUST, the Coordinator of the Kumasi Campus, my laws, High Court judges present, management of the Ghana School of Law, my colleague lecturers, students, distinguished guests, honorable family of Sir Barfour Akoto, ladies and gentlemen. I am very delighted today because, first and foremost, this program started 16 years ago, but I can say today is the most attended and most successfully organized, and I thank the local organizing committee, the SRC, and the management of the law school for this wonderful occasion. We have gathered here today to remind ourselves of the importance of the decision in the case of Akoto and 7 others with the Republic in the evolution of constitutional law in Ghana. In the study of constitutional law, especially constitutional interpretation, the importance attached to the meaning and distinction between the English words shall and should has never been lost. In Re-Akoto, of which the facts are legendary, and in the name of which we are congregated here, the Supreme Court strenuously drew the attention of counsel to the difference and the distinction between the use of shall and should in the construction of Article 13(1) of the 1960 Constitution. It was the wisdom of the then Supreme Court that should falls in a category of lighter imperativeness, almost to the same level as may, and that the phrase that follows should in that article, especially the provision, no person should be deprived of a freedom, is a command that does not need to be completed or mandatorily enforced. The position of the Supreme Court in Akoto had been variously criticized, and it seems that in all cases, Ghanaians in chorus sync have echoed loud and clear that never again should we revert to the consideration or declaration of fundamental human rights of citizens as equal to a coronation oath of a Queen of England or a mere political talk not to be taken seriously. Indeed, the drafters of the 1969 Constitution had this to say in page 45 of the proposals for the 1969 Constitution, where they quoted the decision of Akoto in extenso as follows, and with your permission I quote: "The contention that the legislative power of Parliament is limited by Article 13 of the Constitution is in direct conflict with express provisions of Article 20. It will be observed that Article 13(1) is in the form of personal declaration by the President and is no way part of the general law of Ghana. In other parts of the Constitution where a duty is imposed, the word shall is used. In our view, the declaration may represent the goal to which every president must pledge himself to attempt to achieve. It does not represent a legal enforcement which can be enforced by the courts." The drafters, in response to the above statement by the Supreme Court, had this to say, at paragraph 179 of their report, and I quote, "We do not believe that any authority should be above the law. We appreciate that a government should have authority to govern. But if that government is not to be arbitrary and tyrannical, we conceive that restrictions there must be upon how far it can go in regulating the lives of those who are under its authority. Our people are unanimous in that the proposed constitution for Ghana should set out in detail the rights of the individual and of the state in what may be considered a declaration of liberty under the law. It is not without a significance that in some cases it was even suggested that there should be no limitations at all on the fundamental freedoms of the individual. Yet, liberty is not a license. Clearly, the case and decision of Akoto serve as a precursor for the inclusion of provisions for the protection of fundamental human rights, not as a mere political declaration, but as an enforceable Bill of Rights. No wonder the preamble of the 1969 Constitution provided as follows, which I quote: "We, the chiefs and people of Ghana, having experienced a regime of tyranny, remembering with gratitude the heroic struggle against oppression, having solemnly resolved never again to allow ourselves to be subjected to a like regime." Akoto Memorial Lectures is therefore to serve as a reminder to Ghanaians, lest we forget. A stark reminder of the timorousness of the then Supreme Court in the case of Akoto was stated by Dateba JSC in the case of the Republic versus Fast Track High Court, Accra, ex parte Shraj, Honorable Dr. Anane, interested party, which he said, and I quote, "In responding to this question, I am deeply mindful that our bold spirit movement, to borrow the famous categories memorably formulated in Candler and Crane Christmas by Denin LJ as he then was, I am on this occasion inclined to be a bold spirit and not to succumb to what will be a stunning failure of strategic vision of Re-Akoto dimensions. The importance of Akoto in constitutional reasoning may also be seen in the following statements by my humble self in a paper entitled "Maintaining the Discipline of Judicial Interpretation When Shall Be Shall," delivered at the Re-Akoto Memorial Lecture in 2013 as a critique of the Supreme Court decision in the presidential petition Akufo-Addo and others, John Dramani and others. In a syllogical or mathematical equation, therefore, this is what I said, and I quote: "Moral obligation why SHA should be a legal obligation. Considering the travesty of the reasoning of the Supreme Court in Re-Akoto over 50 years ago, one cannot ignore the yearnings of Ghanaians who cried to the lawmaker to replace the word should with shall in order to do substantive justice in like cases. It must be said that the drafters of the 1992 Constitution, like their predecessors in 1969 and 1979, heard the cries and supplications of the then Supreme Court, and with a heralding siren and typical fanfare, answered the prayers of many Ghanaians by adopting the use of shall whenever they intend a peremptory order. Specifically, on the protection of fundamental human rights, the drafters in Article 12.1 states, the fundamental human rights and freedoms enshrined in this chapter shall be respected and upheld by the executive, legislature, and the judiciary, and all other organs of government and its agencies. I must emphasize that we owe all these provisions to what happened to Akoto and 7 others. It is in this vein that the Ghana School of Law is very grateful to His Majesty Otumfuo Osei-Tutu the Asantehene, who saw the wisdom in instituting these lectures and provided the seed money of 200 million cedis, now 20,000, for these lectures. We also wish to thank the family of Barfour Osei-Akoto for their continued assistance and collaboration. It must be placed on record that this year's edition of the Re-Akoto Memorial Lecture has been put on a different level, and it is our hope that it will continue to stay there. It is the wish of the management of the Ghana School of Law that the SRC of the school should continue to devise ways of making the Akoto Memorial Lectures worthwhile. On this note, I thank you all for your attention.
Thank you very much, Acting Director of the Ghana School of Law, Mr. Maxwell Opoku Ajiman. Ladies and gentlemen, I have been advised that I'm at liberty to take off my mask when I come here, so I do take that liberty. And anytime soon, Ejako Nimo and Adadamu Agofoma will be giving us a musical interlude, so they are advised to hold themselves in readiness. As I indicated, ladies and gentlemen, as and when we receive notice of other dignitaries, we shall inform you accordingly and acknowledge them. Now, we have with us the Honorable Augustine Collins in team, Deputy Minister of Local Government, designate an MP for Offenso North. Honorable, you're welcome. We also have in our presence the Honorable Mayor of Kumasi, Honorable Osei Sibenchi. Honorable, you're welcome. We have Honorable Joseph Kwesi Asimin, District Chief Executive, Bosomtwe District Assembly. Mr. Richard Apietu, Deputy Judicial Secretary in charge of Northern Sector, here with us. We have Mrs. Juliet Edueje, Registrar, Ghana School of Law. We have her deputy, Miss Marian Atawahin, also here with us. Let me also acknowledge the presence of Justice Kofi Akroria, Supervising High Court Judge, Kumasi. My Lord. And let me finally mention that Professor Lydia Aporin-Kansan, Dean of the Faculty of Law, KNUST, is also representing the Vice Chancellor of KNUST. And finally, let me also acknowledge myself as an alumnus of Faculty of Law, KNUST. Shall we now have Ejeko Nimbo and Adadamu Agufuma for a musical interlude?
Thank you. An old man at 90 was seen one morning planting coconut tree in his backyard garden. His grandson queried him, "Nana, what you are doing puzzles me. You are 90 and planting coconut tree, knowing very well that you might not live to enjoy the fruits of your labor." The old man smiled. I know I wouldn't live to enjoy the fruits of my labor. And even if I should live beyond that, I might not have the dental capacity to enjoy it. I'm planting the coconut tree because of you and children yet unborn. Akura dua kube na akura no ne hwan Shami Barfour say Re-Akoto. Mitro kakamio minero kakamio kakamia ko kwa mwasi anansio odom se sirekusi anansi mundomfwe anasimundomfwe anasimundomfwe anansio okuya anasimundomfwe anansio
Thank you so very much. Ejekronimo and the other Demu Agufuma. Ladies and gentlemen, His Lordship, Justice of the Court of Appeal, Justice Sir Dennis Ejei, represents the Chief Justice, His Lordship Eni Yabua, on this occasion. Shall we receive Justice Sir Dennis Ejei for the opening statement?
Chairman for the occasion, Mr. Kwampieni, Anantahine representing Otumfo Osetutu II, Honorable Godfred Yabu Adame, Attorney General of the Republic of Ghana, Professor Mike Okwi, former Speaker of Parliament. Then we talk about Honorable Minister of Education, then the Acting Director Law School. I think here I may seek permission to stand by the previous protocols, and I believe it is granted by the chairman. The Chief Justice had wished to be here in person, but nature has made it impossible for him to be here. It was yesterday afternoon, about 2 o'clock, when he finally decided that nature will not permit him and asked me to come this morning to represent him. And I convey his felicitations to everybody here, particularly the law students. Memorial lectures are organized to remember the role played by a person, whether living or dead, which is of significance to the community. Barfour Re-Akoto is being celebrated today, and this is the 16th occasion. He was a chief who reigned for decades, and he was a statesman. And he fought against oppression and tyranny. Barfour Re-Akoto, a senior linguist to Asantehene, could have withdrawn from all other activities and concentrate on his chiefly activities. But he saw the need to fight for the vulnerable. Barfour Re-Akoto is celebrated as a statesman by the fact that he exhibited great wisdom and objectivity in dealing with important public issues. He spoke against violations of fundamental human rights and freedoms, and at the same time sought to promote principles of rule of law. Barfour Re-Akoto, a senior linguist, and 7 others, as we all know, were arrested, detained under LN 310 of Section 2 of the Preventive Detention Act 1958 for acting in a manner prejudicial to the security of the state. There is no definition for acting in a manner prejudicial to the security of the state. And that power was exercised by the president and passed on to his successor in title. So once there is no definition, then it is subject to be abused. Barfour Re-Akoto, when he was arrested and detained, taught that under the 1960 Constitution, by virtue of Article 13, he could seek redress in court. for a declaration to be made on the Preventive Detention Act, which was seemingly inconsistent with the spirit of their constitution. He sought, the matter was determined by the Supreme Court, and as was said a moment ago by the acting director of the law school, the court, instead of looking at the spirit of the law, limited itself to the letter of the law and substantially distinguished shall from should, and came to the conclusion that by virtue of the word should, it was not a bill of right and therefore unenforceable provision. The celebration of Akoto Memorial Lectures is to remind the courts not to be pedantic in dealing with the Constitution, and any application or interpretation of the Constitution which will impede its singular growth, must be avoided. Barfour Akoto, as a statesman, is reminding students here, it is not enough to meet here annually, to have an annual ritual and leave. Why do we say that Barfour Akoto was a statesman and must be celebrated? I will urge you to read at your own leisure time Article 41 of the Constitution, duties of citizens. Barfour Akoto stands for the fact that everybody is required to be honest, and you must work conscientiously in your lawful choosing occupation. We must protect and preserve public property and expose those who abuse the system and waste public funds and public property. You are to contribute to the community where you live. Then you must defend the Constitution and other laws of Ghana. You are to cooperate with law enforcement agencies to ensure that laws of the land bite and order is maintained. And you must work collectively to protect and safeguard the environment. We cannot talk about the celebration of a statesman of the caliber of Barfour Akoto without talking about our duties as citizens. Always we talk about rights and privileges, but we must perform our duties as citizens. If he did not perform his duty, we wouldn't have met here this morning to celebrate him. That was what he did, and we are here to achieve the same purpose. So we urge you all that we must fight collectively to protect and safeguard our environment. He was a chief par excellence and did not use his position to exploit others. Indeed, we could conclusively state that Barfour Akoto was a person of integrity. And he's a role model, and his life should change us for the better. The annual celebration should not be a lip service, but must inculcate in us the spirit of patriotism. That was what he did and suffered for it. And at the end of the day, he is being celebrated as such. On behalf of the Honorable Chief Justice, Justice I wish all of us a very successful celebration, and thank you.
Thank you very much, His Lordship Justice Dennis J., representative of the Chief Justice of the Republic of Ghana. Ladies and gentlemen, anytime soon we shall have the address by the Honorable Attorney General and Minister for Justice. But before then, as I indicated earlier on, we shall acknowledge the presence of the following Justices of the High Court and senior members of the Bar. We have with us His Lordship Justice Samuel Obin Diawu. Justice Emmanuel Senyor Amedahe is also with us. We have Justice Krofa Adey. His Lordship Justice Charles Bentum is also with us. Let's also acknowledge the presence of the following senior members of the Bar. We have the Ashanti Bar President in the person of Mr. Kwame Uzusetre. We have Mr. Kwame Barfour, senior member of the Bar and also senior law lecturer, Ghana School of Law. We have the immediate past Ashanti Bar President, Mr. Francis Kofi, with us. Shall we also acknowledge the presence of one of the grandsons of Barfour Re-Akoto, in the person of the Honorable Re-Akoto, Deputy Minister of Energy designated MP for Efija, Kwabre South. Honorable, you are welcome. We have other lecturers and the administrative staff of the Ghana School of Law, as and when we receive their names, we shall inform you. Let me finally acknowledge the presence of the former registrar of the Ghana School of Law, Nana Osei Bonsu. Nana, you're welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, shall we receive the Honorable Minister of Justice and Attorney General, Mr. Godfred Yeboah Dame, for his address.
Thank you very much. Representative of the Chief Justice of the Republic of Ghana, His Lordship Justice Dennis J., the Right Honorable Speaker of the 7th Parliament of Ghana, Right Honorable Professor Erome Michael Kwe, Mr. Kwame Pianim, distinguished economist, and in fact the chairman for the occasion, Dr. Re-Akoto, my own colleague and also Minister for Agriculture, colleague ministers and deputy ministers designate, the director of the Ghana School of Law and director of legal education in Ghana, Mr. Maxwell Pukwajiman, the numerous distinguished guests, indeed the representative of Otumfo, Nana Anantahine, and other than Nanum, the mayor of Kumasi, the numerous district chief executives in the room, and party executives. I can recognize party chairman Wontumi in the house. Distinguished guests, friends of the media, ladies and gentlemen. As Attorney General and Minister for Justice, I consider it nothing short of a duty to participate in a program which seeks to commemorate events leading to the adjudication by the Supreme Court of Ghana of a case whose judgment has become a scar on the conscience of the nation. The facts of the Re-Akoto case, I believe, will be amply set out in the speeches of the keynote speaker, Dr. Re-Akoto, as well as the Right Honorable Professor Mike Okwei. I will thus not bore you with a narration of same. Safe to say that one cannot miss the ordinary status of the citizens of Ghana, the appellant in the case. Indeed, apart from Barfour Ose-Akoto and Nana Entry-Busiako, who possess the traps of nobility and dignified status by virtue of being the senior linguist of Asantehene and Nkomfohene of Kumasi respectively, all the other appellants in the matter cannot by any stretch of imagination be described as clothed with the gaps of nobility, or what one may describe in modern day parlance as honorable, although that term has been abused and misapplied. The other appellants in the matter were a lorry driver, storekeeper, letter writer, auctioneer, transport owner, and in fact one of them, the seventh appellant, was described simply as of Kumasi. Definitely he had no fixed place of abode or a recognizable address. Indeed, the Lord, as the good book says in 1 Corinthians chapter 1, verse 28, God chooses the lowly things of this world and the despised things and the things that are not to nullify the things that are. End of quote. One lesson to be drawn from the facts of the Akoto case is that an ordinary person or one belonging to the masses is largely at the receiving end of the law that we enact and are most affected by the adverse consequences thereof. It becomes self-evident that in building a society anchored in the rule of law, we must be guided by the effect of laws and systems we put in place on the ordinary people, and not only the high and mighty or a specific class that we target. In quite an irresistibly powerful way, the case of Akoto and 7 others teaches us to be mindful of the collective good of the laws that we enact as a nation, as all facets of society will be affected by the application of the law. Mr. Chairman, it is not for nothing that Akoto and 7 others occupies a prominent place in the scheme of Ghana's constitutional development. A cocktail of factors, as is often the case in most landmark decisions of our court, has collaborated to place that case on a pedestal, in my estimation, akin to the events that have become characterized as Matters Day, June 30th. Firstly, the gallantry, bravery, principle, and resilience, attributes to which, as was earlier alluded to by the Master of Ceremonies for the occasion, has already been paid by His Excellency, the President, in a speech last year, ought to be fully recognized and appreciated. Further, the records will show that a year before arguing the matter, Dr. J.B. Dankwa had lost an election to Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. He proceeded to campaign vigorously against the Preventive Detention Act, which had been enacted in 1958. The Ghana Bar Association remained silent, although they protested vigorously against Kwame Nkrumah's attempt to divest them of their wigs and gowns. The Bar actually considered Dr. J.B. Dankwa's human rights advocacy as quixotic